Hello, 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 everyone, and happy Financial Tuesday. Back at it again every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m., bringing you news, tips, and tricks on how to wealth up. Thank you, everyone who's tuned in with me. For those of you who are, be sure to subscribe to the Sipping Wealth YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any other Financial Lit Tuesdays. And also make sure that you hit the share button because we definitely want our friends and family to wealth up with us. So this month of September is National Emergency Preparedness Month. So tonight's live is literally centered around just that, making sure that I provide you all some tips and things like that on emergency preparedness and also the financial benefits of doing so. All right. So for starters, we have the sales tax holiday. So there has been quite a few sales tax holidays throughout the year that we've made sure to put on our social media sites. So if you aren't following Strategic Tax Accountants, you do want to make sure that you are on all social media platforms, as well as getting on our email list because these get sent directly to your email. So you don't have to worry about missing out on any like financial news, tax savings, things like that. All right. So if you are local to Florida, like I said, you may have noticed the sales tax holidays from the Department of Revenue. And these are for sales tax being exempt or essentially not required to be remitted or collected for specific items. So in case of this month, because it is readiness month, disaster preparedness month, and then also prior to hurricane season as well. So making sure that everyone has their hurricane equipment, things like that. There was flashlights, pet supplies, radios, coolers, batteries, power banks, generators, all that good stuff. Making sure that people could save on those taxes on that as well. So I highly recommend visiting the Department of Revenue website and just searching sales tax holidays so that you'll be able to see what tax holidays there are and then what tax savings there are as far as having to pay sales tax. Now, if you are a business owner that remits sales tax, then you want to make sure that you're up to date on these too, because this allows you to make sure that you are not collecting taxes from consumers when you shouldn't be, as well as you having to remit taxes on supplies or things that you sell that you don't have to. So definitely want to make sure you're doing that. And then it can also help with moving inventory. So because now if your item was $10, now it's a little cheaper because there's no sales tax on that. All right. So one of the big things, of course, like I definitely want to hit on is making sure that you back up your important documents to a digital platform, whether it's a Google Cloud, a hard drive, whatever the case may be. Definitely want to make sure that like you have your paper materials, your hard copies in digital form as well. Make some waterproof copies because things happen, floods happen, and you don't want to lose these documents. And these are important. When I say important documents, I mean birth certificates, passports, deeds, list of assets, tax returns. Yes, tax returns. You definitely want to make sure that you're keeping at least 3 prior years of your tax returns. I recommend keeping 4 or 5 of them. But it's highly recommended that you keep at least 3 of your most recent years because those are the years that you can generally amend and get a return for. All right, but again, definitely want to make sure that you are keeping copies of those and in case of anything happening during this season. So this becomes even more important, of course, if you are a partnership or a corporation because you have different people involved. Corporations have a lot more tend to have a lot more paperwork as well. So definitely making sure that you keep those hard copies in case of an emergency, that you have them readily available. Y'all, if you do have questions, make sure that you drop it in the chat as well. Even if you're like, hey, I'm just here to say hey, to tune in, things like that. You can always pop your questions and things like that in the comment section. If you have any questions regarding what I'm chatting about, or a future tense, or something that you want me to cover in the future as well. So definitely do that. So again, back to making sure that you have your copies. You have the ready.gov actually has a free evacuation and emergency plan. Literally, you head over to ready.gov or FEMA's website, and they have a list of different things that that individuals, families, and businesses can use for a emergency evac plan. All right, y'all. So IRS tax relief. So federal tax relief for individuals and businesses. Y'all know, I definitely want to make sure you all are up to date and know about these different nicks and things in the laws that you can take advantage of. So the IRS at a federal level has issued tax breaks in response to federally declared disaster areas. So if it was a disaster zone by FEMA, then there are tax reliefs appointed to that area. I know we haven't had any huge disaster areas in a while since, the hurricanes of the past and things like that. But if something were to happen, say this year or in the coming years, just know that there is relief. And if you are or know someone in a disaster zone, then there is federal tax relief for that as well. So the area, like I said, is declared a disaster zone by FEMA. And then the president actually signs off on it as well officially. Then the IRS develops the tax relief code that says, hey, if you were in this area that are affected by this hurricane, or if you were affected by this disaster, then you get this tax relief. Right, you don't have to pay taxes on this amount, or you get a tax credit, whatever that is, based on the specific disaster. So this is something that you can tap into. Like I said, don't sleep on it. All right, y'all. So yesterday, the IRS already released a publication for Hurricane Fiona. All right, so if some of you may or may not know, I don't know if you know, let me know if you know, but Hurricane Fiona is causing a bit of havoc on Puerto Rico. So the IRS actually released a publication yesterday for the victims of Hurricane Fiona in Puerto Rico. All right, so PR is technically still a U.S. territory and pays U.S. taxes, so they do follow under the U.S. IRS guidelines and things like that. Do their tax laws different slightly? Yes, but there is a relief for them being affected by Hurricane Fiona. All right, so individuals, household affected by Hurricane Fiona that reside or have businesses in Puerto Rico qualify for the tax relief. Meaning, if you have a business or associated in Puerto Rico, then you can take advantage of this tax relief. All right, y'all. Now, like I said before, yes, this is a tax relief that literally just came out yesterday, but there are other tax reliefs that are available. So having to do center around disaster areas. So if this is you or you know someone, make sure that you tap in. All right. Another thing is emergency funds. Y'all, I'm sure you probably heard of emergency funds. You probably as well. You're like, oh man, I really need to make sure I have one, or maybe you're saving up. You're like, ooh, it's something that I really need to do. So ideally, you want to have ideally you want to have 6 months, but at least 1 to 2 months of expenses saved up in the savings bucket, where if anything happens, you can pull from that bucket. A lot of people are literally a $500 emergency happening between before they're literally in a hole. or in debt. So definitely making sure that you set up an emergency fund is heavy, heavy, heavy. All right, y'all. Definitely don't want to negate it at all in the slightest. So you definitely want to shoot for at least 2,500 and then go from there. Depending on where your expenses fall, you wanna see if your expenses are $3,000 a month, you want to make sure you have at least 6,000 to $9,000 saved up in that account, because what you don't want to happen is you lose their source of income and you're stuck. I'm sure maybe you've heard this before, or maybe you're like, oh, you know what? This is a reminder that I need to get this together. Yes, this is your reminder. All right, y'all. I also do want to mention that I will be going live on some heavy tax tips. If you are a business owner, I'll be going all over like a firecracker tax saving tips tomorrow on via Zoom. Now, if you are looking for the Zoom link, things like that, be sure to send a direct message, or you can look at my social media sites and you'll see the information for that. But if you are interested in getting basically a list of tax saving tips, tomorrow at 7:30 p.m., I will be hosting a webinar, and then to go ahead and provide you with that information. All right, y'all. So that is just a little bit of information on some smart saving tips and things to keep in mind as we continue on through this hurricane season, through the natural disasters that may occur throughout the rest of the year. Just making sure that y'all stay up to date on that. If you do have any questions, things like that, or things that you want us to go live with in the future, make sure that you let us know. Drop a comment, send me a direct message, whatever the case may be. I'll be sure to make sure that I tap into it and provide you, if we did it in the past, provide you the link for it or where to find it. And then so you can get these wealthy knowledge. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Financially Lit Tuesday. I'll see you back every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m., where I bring you more tips, tricks on how to wealth up. All right, y'all. Have a good evening.